The mischievous little girl snuck into the police station while no one was around. Not only did she casually steal snacks from the desks, she also scribbled all over the case files, changing the victim's girlfriend from the prime suspect into a victim herself. What she didn't know was that every move she made had already been seen by the officers watching the surveillance cameras, and they immediately ordered someone to bring her in. Yet the girl casually shouted, "There's no need to thank me so quickly." Her attitude infuriated the female officer, who immediately ordered someone to contact the girl's guardian. But the child replied, "You are my guardian. You're my aunt. Grandpa told me to come to the city to find you." She then added that she was only correcting their mistake. The case involved a couple sharing an apartment. The boyfriend had been murdered, and according to neighbors, the couple argued frequently, so naturally the police considered the girlfriend the prime suspect. However, the victim had 3 stab wounds, all thrust diagonally from the right side of the chest, indicating the killer used their right hand. But judging from the girlfriend's daily habits, she was clearly left-handed. She used knives with her left hand, and the desk lamp on the right side of her table suggested she wrote with her left hand as well. "Do you really think a left-handed person would awkwardly use their right hand to stab someone?" the girl asked. The officer asked, "So what's your conclusion?" The girl calmly replied, "The girlfriend isn't the killer. She's most likely been murdered too." The officers immediately dismissed her words as nonsense, saying she must have watched too many cartoons, and prepared to take her away. But the very next second, someone rushed in shouting that they had found the missing suspect, and she was indeed dead. Even so, the female officer remained skeptical and decided to personally examine the body. But when she arrived at the scene, she discovered the results were exactly as the little girl had predicted. At that moment, another officer reported that they had found a witness who provided a description of the suspect. Based on the sketch, they tracked the man down to a hospital. The female officer hurried there without delay, only to discover that the suspect was lying unconscious in a hospital bed. According to his medical tag, he had been admitted a month earlier in a vegetative state. Just then, the doctor arrived and, after learning their identities, handed over the patient's medical records to confirm everything. While the female officer was checking the records, the little girl quietly slipped into the room again. She grabbed the patient's arm and lifted it high into the air. As the arm dropped limply back down, she immediately confirmed he was truly unconscious, meaning he had absolutely no ability to commit the crime. But then why had the witness seen him? The female officer suddenly realized something and asked her subordinate whether they had investigated the man's relatives, specifically whether he had a biological brother. The subordinate quickly replied, "Your guess was right. He has an older brother, and they're twins. He's currently downstairs paying the hospital bill for his brother." The moment they heard this, both of them rushed out of the room and indeed saw a man standing at the front desk making payment. But when the female officer saw his face, she froze in shock. The two men looked nothing alike. With the investigation reaching another dead end, the officer reluctantly decided to take the little girl home first. But during the drive, the child secretly tore open the case file. The officer slammed on the brakes in panic. The little troublemaker had actually ripped open the evidence bag. If the prosecutor found out, they'd be finished. Yet the little girl proudly declared that she had discovered an important clue. As soon as they got home, they reopened the files together. The girl pointed at a photograph, and the female officer suddenly understood everything. She immediately contacted the forensic department and ordered DNA tests for the first male victim and the 2 brothers. All 3 of them had severe preauricular fistulas, a highly hereditary congenital ear deformity. The next day, the female officer willingly brought the little girl along to work. By now, she had completely accepted the child's extraordinary talent for deduction. Before long, the DNA results arrived in her hands. Just as the girl predicted, the 3 men were biologically related. The victim was likely the half-brother of the twins. The officer also recalled that their father had recently left behind an enormous inheritance. The little girl added, "Which means this is a murder case driven by inheritance." The police immediately brought the older brother in for questioning. But no matter how hard they pressed him, he insisted he couldn't possibly be the killer. On the night of the murder, he claimed he had been entertaining clients at a karaoke club until dawn, and told them to check the surveillance footage if they didn't believe him. Soon afterward, the officers confirmed that his alibi was true. Not only was he at the karaoke club that night, but the staff also testified for him. Once again, the investigation hit another dead end. The female officer never expected that after so much effort, they would end up right back where they started. Left with no choice, she began reorganizing the evidence, hoping to uncover a new lead. But at that moment, the little girl sneaked in once more and stole a piece of evidence from the cabinet while the officer wasn't paying attention. Before the officer could react, she quickly snatched it back. Yet the girl smugly announced that she already knew who the killer was, though she still lacked direct proof. The very next day, a news report spread across the entire city. It claimed that the wealthy man had another illegitimate son who intended to claim the inheritance, and that anyone wishing to meet him should come to a designated location. Meanwhile, the police disguised themselves and prepared an ambush at the scene. Sure enough, late that night, a suspicious shadow quietly appeared. A teammate immediately reported, "The target has appeared. Estimated 30 seconds until he takes the bait." But just as the female officer was preparing to move in, she suddenly received a call informing her that the little girl had also arrived at the location. Alarmed, she hurriedly told the child to find somewhere to hide. Unfortunately, it was already too late. The masked man had already encountered the little girl. He raised a dagger and lunged at her. Thankfully, the female officer arrived just in time and kicked him aside. The man tried to resist, but he was no match for a professionally trained officer, and she quickly subdued him. Then she tore off his mask. At that moment, everyone present was completely stunned.